All right, we got one for you guys today that includes multiple names that we've covered here before on the channel. Jim Caviezel, we have Ricky Gervais, we have Epstein Island, and we have Ellen DeGeneres. How could we not dive into this one and actually see what's being said? I want to dive into this story, give my context and my insight that I know since I have so much information here in my head about all of these people. I want to thank you guys for subscribing to the channel. Now let's dive into it.
Just like Jeffrey Epstein. Shut up! I know he's your friend, but I don't care.
That line was said on live television, in a room full of the most powerful people in Hollywood, and not a single person laughed.
Shining a light on something they don't want shined on.
He spent years saying it. Hollywood called him crazy. They blacklisted him twice. They told every studio in town, if you touch this thing, you are finished.
Hollywood handing that person, here you go, you can do whatever you want. No, it doesn't work that. In the industry, we've come to a very, very dark place.
A very, very dark place. That's the man who played Jesus on screen telling you what's actually happening behind the curtain. And while he was being mocked for saying it, while Ricky Gervais was firing warning shots from the Golden Globe stage, one of the most powerful women in daytime television was quietly building an empire on the words "be kind."
Now, what Jim Caviezel was saying was, things aren't just given to you in Hollywood. They have to be earned, and oftentimes these things are being earned from terrible acts that have to happen against you. This is no secret at this point in time. It's something that we've discussed in depth here on the channel, and some people are even coming up against charges for doing this type of a thing over the years.
And for years, the producers of that show kept inviting one specific man back to host it, a British comedian who didn't care about being invited to their parties. A man who had no career to lose by telling them the truth.
I said, do you want to host the Golden Globes? All that stuff I said in the show was true. I said, I'm going to write my own jokes. Right? And I thought, who do I pander to? The 200 richest people in the room, or the 200 million people watching at home?
200 million people at home, that was his audience.
He's trying to be funny. He's a comedian, after all. But at the same time, he was trying to get across a message. He was trying to tell the 200 million people watching that Hollywood is not as shiny and sparkly clean as everyone thinks, and that it's deeply rooted and connected into the Epstein files. Let me be honest here, everyone. The Epstein files and Dirty Hollywood are one in the same.
And Gervais took that stage year after year, and he gave those 200 million people a little crack in the wall, a little glimpse of what the people in that room actually were.
Make your own way here in your own plane, didn't you?
If you go back and watch that moment, watch the room, watch the cameras cut away, watch the producers stop chewing, watch the actors freeze in their seats, because that wasn't a joke, that was a name. That was a flight. And every single person in that room knew exactly which plane he was talking about. And then this happened.
Just like Jeffrey Epstein. Shut up! I know he's your friend, but I don't care.
I know he's your friend. He didn't say a name. He didn't have to. Because every powerful person in that room had been on a list, in a logbook, at a dinner, at a party. And they all knew who else had been there. And they all knew who they were protecting. That's why nobody laughed. You don't laugh at a warning shot. You sit very still and you hope the next bullet doesn't have your name on it.
That's actually a pretty good way of putting it. This AI bot that's narrating this may sound dumb, but that was actually a good way of putting it, that you're just trying to dodge that bullet. And if you're called out, man, I hope it doesn't go a little bit deeper and call me out specifically, getting all hot and sweaty in their seats.
Jim Caviezel. Jim Caviezel is not some random guy on YouTube. He's not a podcaster. He's not a conspiracy influencer. He is the man Mel Gibson personally chose to play Jesus Christ in The Passion of the Christ, a film that grossed $612 million worldwide and remains one of the highest-grossing independent films ever made. After that, Jim had everything. He had the fame, he had the respect, he had the future. And then he made a choice that ended his Hollywood career overnight. He signed on to a film called Sound of Freedom, a film about a real former federal agent named Tim Ballard who quit his career to go rescue children from networks in Latin America.
We've spoken about this film in the past. It's actually one that I have not found. I went searching for it to try and watch it on Hulu, Netflix, HBO, all the services that I subscribe to, and it was not there. Have any of you seen this film? And if you have, please let me know your impressions of it in the comments section below, because I'm very curious as to what you guys think of the film, since it's been referenced so many times that we've seen.
While they were filming on location, Jim said walked right up to the crew and asked them point blank what kind of children they wanted. That's when he understood what he was actually dealing with.
Shining a light on something they don't want shined on.
You would think every studio in Hollywood would be lining up to back a film about saving children from traffickers. You would think this would be the easiest sell of all time. That is not what happened. The opposite happened. Every major studio was warned to stay away from it. Don't make it. Don't fund it. Don't distribute it. Don't even be photographed near it.
I'm sorry. These it's so I'm sorry that we have to hear that. It is very difficult to listen to this chat bot saying 100 times. The information is good, but the narration here is terrible. I'm sorry.
Everyone was told, from Rupert Murdoch, from Fox, to every studio, look, if you touch this thing, you will be out, you will be done. You'll be finished in 3 years.
Stop and think about what he just said. He said the most powerful media operator in the English-speaking world allegedly put out a directive that anyone who touched a movie about rescuing trapped children would be destroyed within 3 years. That's the claim. That's what he says happened. And the response from Hollywood wasn't to deny it. The response from Hollywood was to laugh at him, to call him a conspiracy theorist, to put him on a list and quietly make sure his phone stopped ringing. The film came out anyway, without a single major studio behind it, made on a fraction of a normal Hollywood budget. And it pulled in $251 million at the box office. The audience showed up. The industry didn't. And Jim Caviezel kept talking.
Hollywood handing that person, here you go, you can do whatever you want. No, it doesn't work that. In the industry, we've come to a very, very dark place.
Kept talking. Kept a very, very dark place. Now hold that line in your head, because while Caviezel was being mocked for saying it, and while Gervais was being booked once and never invited back for saying it, somebody else in Hollywood was at the absolute peak of her power. She had a daytime show that millions of Americans watched every single afternoon.
And this is where the connection that I wanted to see, because I haven't yet made a connection between Ellen DeGeneres and Jim Caviezel or anyone else. So really curious on how this one is connected right here.
She had a brand built on the word kind. She had 3 convicted men in her inner circle. And she was about to disappear. Ellen DeGeneres. Be kind. You couldn't watch 5 minutes of her show without hearing it. It was on the merch. It was on the intro. It was in every interview. It was the brand. The whole personality. America's daytime sweetheart. The woman who danced into your living room every afternoon and told everybody to just be a little nicer to each other. Then in 2020, 36 former employees went to BuzzFeed, and what they described was not kind. What they described was the opposite of kind. One of them was Hedda Muscat, not a junior assistant, not an intern, an actual producer who worked with Ellen for years.
Phony, hypocrite, liar. That's what she is.
Those are her exact words on camera. Toxic, phony, hypocrite, liar. And she wasn't the only one. Former employee after former employee came forward describing a culture of fear behind the scenes of the kindest show on television.
Told from the very beginning, don't talk to Ellen, don't do this, you can't, go into her office. It was very nerve-wracking, very stressful. We all walked on eggshells all the time.
Walked on eggshells. That's the daytime show that told America to be kind.
Okay, still, Not that I'm one for Ellen DeGeneres, because I'm not, and I do believe that she was involved in a lot of terrible things. But what we've heard so far does not connect her to Epstein. Does it connect her to Weinstein, to Diddy? Of course. We know that she was in those inner circles. She was friendly with those people. Not even friendly. We could even go as far as saying friends with some of those people. But it does not make the connection to Epstein yet. And that's what I'm curious if that connection is going to be made.
Warner Media launched a full investigation. 3 executive producers were fired. The allegations included inappropriate touching, racial discrimination, and a culture of fear that had allegedly been going on for years. In September of 2020, Ellen sat down on her own show and addressed it for the first time on air.
Truth is, I am that person that you see on TV. I am also a lot of other things. Sometimes I get sad, I get mad, I get anxious, I get frustrated, I get impatient, and I am working on all of that.
A work in progress.
I mean, aren't we all a work in progress? Aren't we all always trying to improve some element of our life, whether you are a young person watching this, which I know most of you watching this video are my age or older. I could tell when I look back from the analytics of the video. I appreciate you guys all being here with me. But no matter what, young, old, or in between, we are always trying to be better people. Or at least most of us are.
A whole apology that never actually said what she was apologizing for. And former employees did not buy it. One of them said it on the record she's known about this for 17 years. We were all petrified of her. She was not nice. The Ellen DeGeneres show ended in May of 2022. 19 years gone, and comedian Cat Williams said publicly what a lot of people inside the industry were saying privately, that businesses generating that kind of money do not just end. Something catastrophic had to happen behind the scenes. Something nobody was talking about on camera. The show ended. And then 2 months later, things got much, much darker. 2 months after Ellen's show ended, her ex-girlfriend Anne Heche was dead. 4 months after that, her DJ and executive producer Stephen Twitchboss was dead too. Both deaths officially ruled. Both families left with questions that, to this day, have never been fully answered. Let's start with Anne. Anne Heche and Ellen DeGeneres dated publicly from 1997 to 2000. At the time, it was one of the most talked about celebrity relationships in America.
Keep in mind, during this time, when you're in an intimate relationship with someone, you get to see the deepest and darkest secrets that those people hold. And Heche knew Ellen's deepest and darkest secrets. So what they're getting at here is, did these people, the ones that had passed, was it actually an accident? And I'm talking about their passing. Anne Heche, she was in a car accident after being under the influence and said that she was dead when she was put into the ambulance, but we have video footage of her sitting up in the table when she was being rolled into the ambulance. She literally sat up. And I've seen the comments. I've seen some of you say that when someone's dead body is freshly dead, it will have some ability to sit itself up. That is not what happened in that video.
Anne said in interviews afterward that the relationship damaged her career, that doors started closing the moment she went public. On August 5th of 2022, Anne's car was caught on camera ripping through a residential neighborhood in Los Angeles at extremely high speed. It slammed into a house. The house caught fire. The car caught fire. Everything caught fire. She was pulled from the wreckage with severe burns and smoke inhalation.
This image right here is her sitting up. Right before this red piece right here is the ambulance. She's about to be put into the ambulance and she sat up. They said she was dead at that point.
And then a clip surfaced that the internet has never been able to forget.
Anxious or that quick moving that was going on
the
other side of the vehicle. Oh my gosh, he's completely alive. He was trying to get away.
She.
Remember that clip? It was harrowing. Well, how can you forget it? It was Anne Heche after her crash, which ultimately took her life. Suddenly sitting bolt upright, unzipping herself from a body bag and looking very much alive. Then we were told a few minutes later she'd passed away.
Sitting bolt upright, unzipping herself from a body bag, and then a few minutes later, gone. On August 11th, she was declared brain dead. On August 14th, she was taken off life support after organ donation. Officially ruled accidental, 6 days of emotional swings while her family watched the monitors keep beeping. Now, 4 months later, 4 months, it happens again. December 13th, 2022. Stephen Twitch Boss, the DJ on Ellen's show, the executive producer, the guy you saw in every clip dancing, smiling, bringing the energy. He was the literal face of the Be Kind brand.
He was awesome, by the way. From when he started out in the reality dance TV show to being on Ellen's show, the guy was always positive, happy, and a pleasure to watch. I always enjoyed him all the time, and it was devastating when he passed.
And he was found dead in a motel room from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. No public note. Ruling suicide. His widow, Allison Holker, said nobody saw it coming. She told People magazine he had no signs of being low. He just wanted to be everyone's Superman. His grandfather went to the Daily Mail 2 days after it happened. The grandfather said they'd spoken as recently as that Saturday. Said Twitch was the same happy-go-lucky person. Said there was no indication anything was out of the ordinary. The last text his grandson ever sent him said, "I love you, Dad, Dad." And then, in January of 2025, 1 month before the Epstein files were going to drop, Allison Holker came forward with something new.
God doesn't give you things you cannot handle. I'm a firm believer in that. There was a moment I was with one of my really dear friends, and we were cleaning out the closet and picking out an outfit for him for the funeral. And it was a really triggering moment for me because there was a lot of things I discovered in our closet that I did not know existed.
A lot of things she did not know existed. She told BuzzFeed she found a large stash of drugs hidden in shoe boxes in their home. She said it was very alarming. She said he was self-medicating. She said she had no clue. 2 people connected to Ellen, gone in 4 months. Both deaths officially closed, both families left with questions. And then a few months later, the files dropped, and every single one of those questions came roaring back. In February of 2026, the Department of Justice unsealed over 3.5 million pages of documents connected to Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell.
Yeah, now, is this where we get the connection to Epstein and Ellen? Because so far, it's all just dirty Hollywood stuff, which we know is overlap, but we still don't have a direct connection.
That is, at minimum, the behavior of someone who did not want to be in America on the day those documents went public. Now we have to talk about the 3 men, because this is the part of the pattern that is not rumor. This is not allegation. This is court record. This is documented fact. Ellen DeGeneres was publicly close with 3 men who were each separately convicted of serious crimes. 3 men. 3 separate convictions, all involving exploitation, trafficking, or abuse. Number 1, Sean Diddy Combs. Diddy appeared on Ellen's show multiple times over the years. They had a documented friendship. And in 2016, on her show on camera with the audience clapping, she called him and I, quote, Cuddle McNuggle stuff.
All this time. Diddy, come on out.
Cuddle McNuggle stuff. That was the public bit. The on-camera friendship. In September of 2024, Diddy was arrested on federal charges. In July of 2025, he was found guilty on 2 counts of transportation for prostitution. In October of 2025, he was sentenced to 4 years and 2 months in prison. Victims said it wasn't enough.
Yeah, they said that it wasn't enough. I mean, he got a few years in prison for a lot of terrible things that he was accused of doing. I don't know how he got out with so little time. Let me know your thoughts there. We have lists of names of people that were abused by this man and brought into the industry. It still boggles my mind that he got such a small amount of time.
Number 2. Harvey Weinstein. Ellen and Weinstein were photographed together at events. He appeared on her show. She publicly supported his projects. Right after Maxwell's sentencing. Diddy was arrested in September of 2024. The Epstein files with her name inside dropped in February of 2026. And by that point, Ellen DeGeneres was already in England. That timeline is not a feeling. That timeline is not a vibe. That timeline is a calendar.
Even with, yes, and we've had this discussion that she probably did not leave the United States because she wasn't a believer in Trump. Like she said, that was the reason why she was leaving. She probably did go to escape Diddy-related things, Epstein-related things. But is she really safe there, even though she is out of the country? Can't she still be called back to be prosecuted for her crimes?
Now back to Caviezel, because this is where his warning starts to make a different kind of sense. Caviezel has never named Ellen DeGeneres directly in any verified interview. What he talks about is bigger than any one person. He calls it the 8-armed octopus.
Yeah.
You can cut off one arm, one producer, one host, one name, and the machine keeps going. The other arms keep moving. Remove one person and the system stays intact.
Everyone was told, from Rupert Murdoch at Fox to every major studio, if you touch this thing, you will be out. You will be done. You'll be finished in 3 years.
His argument is that the system is not broken. The system is working exactly the way it was built to work. It protects the powerful through silence. It ridicules anybody who asks questions early. And it controls which stories get pushed onto the front page and which stories disappear quietly. When Ellen's name came up in the Epstein discussions, a lot of people saw it through Caviezel's framework. Here was one of the most powerful figures in daytime television. Massive platform, millions of loyal viewers. And when the heat came, she didn't fight back publicly. Jeffrey Epstein arrested in 2019 after years of rumors that everyone in powerful circles had heard. Ghislaine Maxwell convicted in 2021 after the same rumors had been ignored for a decade. Sean Combs arrested in 2024 after years of stories the industry had buried. Every single time the industry response was the same. We had no idea. And every single time it turned out people knew. They just didn't say anything. Investigations happen when a few specific things line up at the same time.
Now, I think this is something that we've known. The industry has known about all of this. 10, 20, 30, hundreds. So as long as the industry has been around, this stuff has been going on. And the people within have known about it. But for some reason, until of late, people always remain silent. And some of it may be because they feel if they don't remain silent, they'll be blackballed and no longer able to work and make money in the industry. The fear.
Public pressure gets too loud to ignore. Credible evidence surfaces. A witness comes forward. A family requests a forensic re-examination of a death. A connected federal case opens a door to new names. All of those things are possible right now. Petitions are already circulating. The internet is talking about Ellen in a way it wasn't 6 months ago. And as Caviezel has said for years, one witness statement can change everything.
They're handing that person, here you go, you can do whatever you want. No, it doesn't work that. In the industry, we've come to a very, very dark place.
A very, very dark place. He said it. They mocked him for it. He was right.
Just like Jeffrey Epstein. Shut up! I know he's your friend, but I don't care.
He said it. They froze in their seats for it. He was right too. So what happens now? 20 to 30% of the Epstein files are out. The other 70 to 80% are still sealed. The people whose names are in the part that is sealed know it. The people who flew on the planes know it. The people who went to the parties know it. The people who sat in the rooms with the phones in the pouches and the agreements on the tables, they know it. And right now, in real time, they are selling houses, switching countries, going quiet, hiring new lawyers, and waiting. Ellen DeGeneres is in the Cotswolds. 3 of her on-camera friends are convicted criminals. 2 of the people closest to her died within 4 months of her show ending. Her name is in the files. Caviezel told you. Gervais told you. The question now is not whether the next chapter is coming. The question is, whose name leads it.
So I guess the connection that we have here is the escaping. And I think that this closed it out fairly well when it said that all of the files are not released, all of the names are not out, and actually the majority of them are not at this point in time. So knowing that you're in there, because knowing that you engaged in that world, in that society, people are trying to set up protection now. Get the heck out of here, sell your properties, and go try and lay low somewhere so that when it does drop, you could hopefully escape from it. And there's a lot of fear in the industry right now because of those files, and there's a lot of protection of those files by the upper governments trying to make sure that they're never released. Now, I want to thank you guys for watching the video and urge you to check out this one, also relating to the Epstein files. I think you're going to like it, and I'll see you guys over there.